Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our lesson on coordinate grids. You'll notice I got a letter here from Jesse. It says, "Dear Mr. Lowe, today I heard someone mention we're going to be learning about coordinate grids and coordinates and ordered pairs. My friend said that stuff was easy, but I've never heard of coordinates. What can you tell me about this before I go to math class? I don't want to feel so far behind. Sincerely, Jesse." Well, Jesse, no problem at all. It's a good thing I'm here because I am definitely going to help. So without further ado, make sure you have your math notebooks in front of you because you are going to be taking some notes. What you see on the screen right now is what we would call a coordinate grid, okay? But before we get into what the definition is, I want to talk about some definitions of other vocabulary today. So, in your notebook, you are writing the word plane. We're going to talk about what the word plane means. Not an airplane, but a plane in math is a flat surface that extends in all directions. So you'll notice I have a flat surface on the screen. This whole surface that you're looking at is a plane, and it extends in all directions. So it's going to extend in that direction, to the left, to the right, as well as in a downward direction. So that this plane goes off in all those directions forever. It will never stop. So that is a good definition of the word plane, a flat surface that extends in all directions. So I'm going to make that one disappear. And now we're going to talk about exactly what a coordinate grid is. This is a great picture of a coordinate grid. My recommendation right now would be for you to pause the video and go ahead and draw a grid on your paper. You don't necessarily have to draw all of the little lines, but it would probably be a good idea if you came up with something like that. I have graph paper here you can use tomorrow too. But you basically want to draw a nice long line this way, a number line, and a number line going up and down, because a coordinate grid is a device used for locating points on a plane, or in a plane. It is formed by two intersecting number lines. So again, we have our number line here. It starts at 0. Goes in a positive direction in the upward direction, or positive increase, a negative increase in the downward direction. Then we have our horizontal number line, and our horizontal number line is probably the typical number line, that we have a positive numbers in the right direction and negative numbers in the left direction. So this is a great picture, great illustration of what a coordinate grid is, and this is kind of what we're going to be working with over the next couple of days. So, we've talked about axes before. They're either of two number lines that intersect to form a coordinate grid. And what's great about our axes is we have them labeled. And our axes right here, this axis that goes across the page is our x-axis. And the one that goes up and down is our y-axis. So, x-axis goes across the page. Y-axis goes up and down. They intersect right here at this next point. And that point of intersection is actually called the origin. So the origin is the point where two axes of a coordinate grid meet. And the origin of our grid will always be 0, 0. So it's right there, which is 0 on our x-axis and 0 on our y-axis. Okay? And this example that we have, let's use orange, right here, that is an example of what we would call an ordered pair. An ordered pair are two numbers used to locate a point on a given grid, or on a coordinate grid. What's interesting about this particular ordered pair, and actually in all ordered pairs, the first number is always your x-axis, the second number is always your y-axis. First number is always your x-axis. Second number is always your y-axis. Okay, I think that's it for vocabulary. I think we have a good understanding of what a plane is, what a coordinate grid is, an axis, an origin, or point of origin, as well as an ordered pair. Let's try and go ahead and get some practice in now. So let me do this, and I'm going to flip the page. I have some points on the board that we are going to be moving some dots to, and we'll probably label them. Actually, let's do that right now. So let's label them. We're going to call this one point A, and B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. Now I want to talk real briefly about a couple of different things on here. We have our coordinate plane, and we notice that it's broken up into 4 sections. Here's a section right here. We are going to call this quadrant number 1. And just to the left of that is going to be quadrant number 2. Our lower left-hand quadrant is called quadrant number 3. And then our lower right-hand quadrant is called quadrant 4. Okay? So we have 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. All of our points are located in one of those 4 quadrants. So let's take a look out here. We want to take the first dot, and I want to place it at 5, 4. 5, comma 4. And I remember that we said our x number is our first number, our y number is our second number. And an easy way to remember that, for me at least, if I start on my origin, I always need to move my ladder left or right. That's on the x-axis, left or right. So I'm going to move it 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, before I move it up or down. So you always want to go left or right on the ladder before you move up or down. And this time I'm going up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where point A is. And then we're going to go ahead and do point B. Point B is at 2, comma 7. So I'm going to go grab my point. I'm going to go 1, 2, comma 7, all the way up to 7, 2, comma 7. That is where B is, point B. Now these things right here are called coordinates. It gives me an exact location on my grid of where that stuff is. Everywhere on here I have an exact location. So now we're going to go ahead and grab point C. Point C is at 0, 7. So 0, remember it's left and right first. 0 means I didn't go anywhere left or right because 0 is my point of origin. And now all I'm doing is going 0 up to 7. Let's do that again. 0, because I go 0 on my left or right. 0 is right here. Then I go up to point 7. That is C. Now we're going to go ahead and do D. Now D is interesting too because D says, well, now I'm going 7, positive 7, left or right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now 0 up or down. So that means it's going to stay right at that point. That is point D. Point E, this is the first one I have. Point E is negative 4, 6. So again, I always start at 0. Negative 4 means I go left this time because it's always left or right first, then up or down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we are going up to point 6. So this point, point E, is actually going to be in quadrant 2. E is located in quadrant 2. Okay? And let's go grab one more, we'll say. Let's do G. G is negative 8, negative 4. So I go over here. I go negative 8 on my x-axis. And negative 4 on my y-axis, which is 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 8, negative 4, which is letter G. Okay? And I guess we probably ought to put one over there in quadrant 4 just for the fun of it. We'll say quadrant 4 can be H. H starts here and goes 0 on my x and y and down to negative 9. 0 down to negative 9. Any questions so far? Remember, you guys can pause the video and go back. One more thing, a couple more things before we get going here. I want you to, we're going to practice this one. This is called Find the Treasure. It's a little game that we do. Now this one, you'll notice, only has one quadrant on our grid. This is, in this case, this is the positive and positive, so this would be quadrant number 1. So we got to find the treasure. The treasure is at 2, 3. Right now my pirate guy is not at 2, 3. I got to go put him at 2, 3. So I go down to 2. There's 2. Nope, that's not 2. 2 on my X, 3 on my Y, and now we want to check and see if that's where the treasure is, and I am right. Now I want to go to 8 on my X-axis, so I always go 8 first, and up to 7. So I'm going to go right to that point right there. There's 8, there's 7, let's check and see. Yay, I found some more treasure. So real simple game. This one only deals with very few of our pieces in terms of quadrants that we're dealing with. All right, so tomorrow when you come into class, you're going to be working through some things on the journal pages. We're doing 3 lessons in a row, so we're going to kind of fly through things. I do want to show you our website. And again, I showed you some of these games last night to my afternoon class. But the video, once the video is done, it will go right in this section here. A couple of the other things, if you want to play some coordinate games just to get some practice, you can play Billy Bug. Billy Bug's a really fun game where you're trying to capture, here we go, probably hit start. You're trying to capture where he's trying to capture the bug so that he can eat. Look for the grubs. We want to go to 8, 0, 8, 0. 8 on my X-axis, 0, whoops, where'd he go? There he is. 0 on my Y-axis, and we want to feed him. And yahoo, I got it right. That one took me 26 seconds. Now I want to go to 2, 6. It's 2 on my X-axis, 6 on my Y, and I want to feed him. So again, now watch what happens if we get it wrong. This is 3, 4. Well, I'm going to go over here and maybe we'll go to 4, 3 just to see what happens. Oh, there's no food here, so said Billy the Bug. And then there's other games that you can play here too. Hit the coordinator, or hit the coordinate, catch the fly, and then Billy Bug 2. So, without much to do, you guys make sure you bring your notes in with you tomorrow. Make sure you are ready to go. Probably want to watch the video over again. It's fairly short, and I hope you guys enjoy the sunshine and have a great evening.